My name is Olivia, and for the last 7 years, I've dreaded every holiday season. Not because I dislike Christmas lights or family dinners, but because each year, my own relatives found a new way to remind me, and my kids, that we weren't really welcome. It started small, almost subtle. Then it grew cruel. And last year, I finally decided I'd had enough. I'm a single mom of 2, Ethan, who's 9, and Lily, who's 6. Their father, Mark, left when Lily was still a baby. My parents helped me through the early years, but when my brother Ryan got married, everything started to change. His wife, Sabrina, came from money, the kind of woman who wore designer shoes to family barbecues and spoke like she was doing everyone a favor by showing up. From the moment she entered our family, she made it clear she thought my life, and my kids, were beneath her. The first Christmas after Ryan married her, Mom called to say, "Honey, we don't have enough space this year, but we'll save you a plate." I thought it was just logistics. Their house wasn't big. So I said okay. But then, when I saw the photos on Facebook, my heart sank. There was plenty of space. Everyone was there. My parents, Ryan, Sabrina, her family. Smiling, laughing, opening gifts. My kids asked me, "Mom, why weren't we invited?" I told them the truth. Grandma's house was just too full this year. But inside, I knew better. It happened again the next year, and the year after that. No room for the kids. We're keeping it small this year. You understand, right? I understood perfectly. I just didn't want to admit it. Every time I smiled and said, "Of course." But every time, I watched my children's faces fall a little more. They stopped asking about Christmas with Grandma. They stopped hoping. Last Thanksgiving, I decided to change that. I got a call from Mom a week before the holiday. "Liv," she said, "this year, we're hosting a big dinner again. Sabrina's family is visiting, so." "I'm sorry, sweetheart. It's just going to be too crowded." I sat there, staring at my phone, while Lily was in the background making a paper turkey for school. Something inside me broke. Not with anger, but with resolve. "Okay, Mom," I said calmly. "No problem. We'll do our own thing." And we did. That night, I stayed up planning. I didn't want revenge. I wanted peace. I wanted my children to feel what a real family celebration should feel like. So I reached out to a few friends, other single parents, a widowed neighbor, and a coworker whose son was studying out of state. "What are you doing for Thanksgiving?" I asked each of them. Most answered, "Nothing special." So I said, "Come to my house." By the time Thanksgiving Day came, my tiny 2-bedroom home smelled like roasted turkey, cinnamon pie, and hope. I'd borrowed folding chairs from next door and used every dish I owned. My table was mismatched and crowded, but it was perfect. The laughter that filled the room that night didn't sound forced or polite. It was warm, real, and alive. Ethan helped serve mashed potatoes, and Lily stood on a chair to lead everyone in saying what they were thankful for. When she said, "I'm thankful my mom makes holidays fun even when people forget about us," I had to excuse myself to the kitchen for a minute to cry. Halfway through dinner, there was a knock on the door. I opened it to find my parents standing there, holding a store-bought pumpkin pie. My mom's eyes darted past me, taking in the sight of my living room, filled with people, food, and laughter. "We thought we'd stop by," she said softly. "We didn't know you'd have company." I smiled. "There's always room here," I said, stepping aside. They hesitated, then walked in. My dad shook hands with my neighbor, and Mom awkwardly found a seat beside Lily. It wasn't long before they started to relax, laughing at jokes, complimenting the food, and even joining in on a silly trivia game the kids made up. When dinner ended, Mom pulled me aside. "Olivia," she said quietly, "I think I owe you an apology. I didn't realize how much we'd left you out." I met her eyes, not with anger, but with honesty. "Mom, you didn't leave me out. You left them out. Your grandkids. They needed you." She started to cry. "You're right," she whispered. "We'll make it right. I promise." A few weeks later, at Christmas, I got another call. This time Mom said, "We're doing dinner at Ryan's, but before that, we'd love to have everyone at our house. You, Ethan, and Lily too. There's plenty of room this year." I didn't believe it until I saw it. The tree decorated, stockings hung for all three of us, even one with our cat's name. My kids' faces lit up when they saw their names on those stockings. Ryan looked embarrassed, Sabrina forced a smile, but I didn't care. My children were seen. That was enough. When we got home that night, Ethan hugged me and said, "Mom, this was the best Christmas ever." And I realized something. I didn't need my family's approval to build a beautiful life. But showing them what real love looked like, that had changed everything. Now every holiday, our home is full. Sometimes with relatives, sometimes with friends, sometimes with strangers who've become family. Because family isn't about blood or perfect houses or traditions. It's about making room, especially for the ones who've been left out. So yes, for years my family told me there was no room for my kids. But when I finally showed them what real family looks like, they learned something I'd known all along. Love doesn't need room. It makes room.